There's a lot going on right now. Not only are we in the middle of a pandemic, it is also Pride Month, and recently we lost a queer comrade who was forced to undergo conversion treatment. Subsequently, there are a lot of critical conversations about how forcing someone into a cisgender heterosexual script to normalize them is not only unethical, it is violent. One of the big topics that's coming up over and over is the mental health of the LGBTQ community and how the mental health space has historically been pathologizing and violent toward LGBTQ persons. We need to make a critical shift to queer affirmative practices, which means listening and learning from the margins. These discussions are calling out what we see as normal or mainstream and saying that, hey, this is also a form of violence. However, I am disconcerted with some of the ways in which we're talking about queer people and mental health. A lot of places are using the same rhetoric that we are so critical of, normal, abnormal, sick, recovered, to talk about people with psychosocial disabilities. A lot of the language that we are using to talk about mental health is neurotypical. It talks about people with psychosocial disabilities and neurodivergent people, like our lived experiences are moments or anomalies, and the end result of any mental health intervention or support is to fix us or to normalize our minds. I'd like to point out the hypocrisy of, on one hand, strongly critiquing enforced heteronormativity, and on the other hand, enforcing this idea of a normal or normative mind. Queer spaces, mental health spaces, and queer mental health spaces need to make room for people who are neurodivergent. We must think about who is marginalized when our understanding of mental health and illness is so narrow that the only successful outcome for a mental health intervention or mental health support is seen as somebody who has a normal mind or is neurotypical. This is also a binary that needs to be broken. This is also a center that privileges certain people over the other. There are autistic, bipolar, schizophrenic people, and our lived experiences are valid. One cannot be queer affirmative without challenging ableism and neurotypicality within mental health. When we talk about systems of power being undone, we must also undo this.